Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Conti Nich podcast. I'm Will Nicholson.
I'm Gino Conti.
And we just wanted to preface the very first episode to let you guys know what this podcast is going to be. Roughly, it's going to be a sports podcast. Like this first episode, we started talking about the NFL draft and our draft picks.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be a doozy, folks.
Yeah, pretty much all we're going to be talking about is different sports takes that we want to talk about, different opinions that we have. Might do a couple of guests in the future, so hopefully you guys stick around. I also want to preface before we jump right into our draft, our mock draft, that there was a little bit of audio interference. It's very unnoticeable. It's very slight. But if you do notice that, how the audio is a little bit different from now, we did fix it, but it was still a very, very good episode. So we hope you guys enjoy. And yeah. Okay, so we're going to get right into our draft picks right now. I made a list, and Gino made a list for top 15, right?
Yeah, top 16. Top 15.
Okay, so we have 15 picks coming in. With my first pick, Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this one's pretty much straight up slam
Mac
dunk. Of course. Could you imagine? No, you got to go with the kid that everyone has been talking about since he was 16 years old from Clemson. Trevor Lawrence. Urban Meyer's really good with young quarterbacks. I think this one's pretty straight up.
I don't have much to say. I mean, we all knew this was gonna be the pick. It's I had nothing to say.
It feels very similar to the Zion draft, right? For the NBA, where it was the Zion draft. Like during draft lottery, it's whoever got the first pick was taking Zion. And during the season this year, we're like, oh, we thought it was going to be the Jets for a while, but it's Trevor Lawrence. We've heard enough about Trevor Lawrence.
No. and one thing that you bring up a good point. This wasn't a race of who gets the number one overall pick. This was a race of who got to draft Trevor Lawrence.
Exactly.
That's the thing. And for somebody to be that huge, that important of a player, I think he has a future, man. I think he does. I don't think he's going to live up to the hype, like this much hype that he's getting. I think he'll have success story like Phillip Rivers, like Ben Roethlisberger. I think he'll have that good of a career. But, I mean, you're in good shape if you have a career like those.
Definitely, yeah. With Urban Meyer working with him, too, I think that, he's good with young quarterbacks. There's a reason that he's in Jacksonville right now. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be good. Number 2, I have the Jets taking Zach Wilson with their second overall pick. We saw with the Sam Darnold trade, obviously they're moving on to a quarterback in the draft. And with free agency, I don't really see them doing anything. They like Zach Wilson on Pro Day. It's been reported that they're pretty sold on him.
Yeah, I got Zach Wilson too. I want to talk about, just real quickly, how much I think the Jets have just screwed up this whole entire thing. I don't understand. They traded Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers. We all know that. That's old news by now. But just by doing this, you have already set your franchise back about 2 to 3 years. Do you think so? Do you think
completely
so?
Agree.
Because do you agree that Zach Wilson, do you think that he is a day one ready starting quarterback, or do you think he needs time?
I think Zach Wilson was one of the guys that needed time, and I saw he looked great in his pro day, right? Made great throws, but I don't like a franchise where you're moving on to a new young quarterback it's very bad Cleveland Browns.
It's like you're taking 2 steps back and taking 1 step forward. You know what I mean? A step forward, 2 steps back, however the saying goes. This is the problem that I have. By taking Zach Wilson, yes, there is a very good chance that you have a very good quarterback on your hands in time. First of all, you need to get a good mentor. Right now, they do not have a backup or a mentor quarterback.
I'm surprised they didn't even keep Joe Flacco. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these franchises who you see at the top of the draft. I didn't think Sam Darnold was a bad pick at all when they took him. I just think that he didn't have the right team around him. The Jets were awful last year.
It's not only that. He was contaminated by the worst coaching staff in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. I mean, Adam Gase, that man was incompetent. And the only reason that man ever had a job was because Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, the Manning brothers, were just raving about him. And just because an NFL Hall of Famer puts in a good word for you doesn't mean independently you'll do a good job. And that's what pisses me off. I really think that Adam Gase was an awful, god-awful hire. Because he, I believe, a week in, got the GM that was previously there fired. Who does he have naked pictures on, dude? Who does he have naked pictures on? How does he have that power?
I completely agree. I mean, we'll see this year, especially how Sam Darnold is going to look in a new team, in a new system. And people are going crazy over the Zach Wilson pro day, but he's making throws that Sam Darnold was making in the combine.
Yes.
Sam Darnold has equally as good of an arm as Zach Wilson from what we've seen. Then that could change. And don't get me wrong, I think Zach Wilson could be a great player in the NFL. I think that he could come in and, maybe he does take the Jets to the next level. But overall, I didn't think it was the right move.
And let me tell you this. This is the draft theory that I have. A lot of people are very just take the quarterback. Dude, most of the teams that have paid their quarterbacks are no longer in serious Super Bowl contention. Okay, Now here I am. I'm not saying that the Jets are going to be Super Bowl contenders. They're not even going to be playoff contenders, I don't think. By taking Zach Wilson and by doing taking another quarterback 3 years after you take the guy that you supposedly thought was going to be your franchise, you are now omitting yourself from taking a premier weapon like Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, or Kyle Pitts. You had 4 people who were considered elite NFL prospects, and you are now taking a quarterback who is considered a developmental project instead of helping out the guy that you drafted 3 years ago. Yeah. What sense does that make? You are under a new head coach. Robert Saleh is known to be a great motivator. What is the deal? Why is there no patience anymore?
I completely agree. I think for this pick to work out for the Jets, which it's looking like right now this is going to have to happen. It's going to happen, sorry. They're going to have to go into the draft not only looking for quarterback not looking just for Zach Wilson after moving from Sam Darnold. They need to be looking to put more weapons around Zach Wilson. They need to go out. I think they're in the first round twice, I believe. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
If they're not, they should be in the first round twice because they need to go out. They need to get wide receivers. They need to get a tight end. You need to put weapons around Zach Wilson. He's going to need weapons, or he's going to, like Sam Darnold, see ghosts.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with that sentiment. But my question is, why not put weapons around Sam Darnold? You know what I mean?
Agree.
Because I'm not saying that this is a waste of a pick because, like I said, Zach Wilson may turn out to be very good. But a quarterback 3 years after you just took a quarterback, that's so to me that's so counterproductive as a franchise. I mean, I don't understand it. It's boneheaded. 4 generational prospects potentially. 4 generational prospects, and you are passing them up just because you were stubborn and wanted to take another quarterback.
The Jets falling apart day by day. We'll move on to the third pick here. Now, with this pick, I don't think that they should make this pick at all. But from what I've seen, I'm trying to go for the most accuracy in this mock draft. At number 3, I have the San Francisco 49ers taking Mac Jones. We've heard that they like Mac Jones. We know the Shanahan system, the Kirk Cousins, whatever. They like a quarterback that can just manage the game. And I think that's what they're looking for in Mac Jones. That's what Mac Jones is. Great player in Alabama. Won the championship this year, national championship. I really like Mac Jones, but I don't think I like him 3 overall. If I were the 49ers, personally, I would be looking for a Trey Lance or Justin Fields, who draft stock has fell for pretty much no reason. I mean, there's concerns.
You want me to get fired up about that one too?
I'd love to hear your take on that one.
All right, well, hold on. We'll get into that a little bit later because I actually do agree with you that the 49ers are going to take Mac Jones. I mean, if you just look throughout recent history, Kyle Shanahan has coached Matt Ryan and Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think any of those two have been accused of being good runners. I mean, have you seen Matt Ryan run like Lamar Jackson?
I have not.
In your lifetime?
I can't say I have.
Have you seen Jimmy Garoppolo run like Lamar Jackson in your lifetime?
I cannot say so.
Yeah. You know what? Neither can I. So yeah, I mean, I think Mac Jones definitely it's a very safe pick because coming out of Alabama and they do not have a history of good quarterbacks, surprisingly, because they're known as the pro style offense and defense and program to go to if you're looking to go to the NFL. But I mean, I just think Mac Jones, like you said, is accurate. I think he makes the right reads. The lack of starts and the lack of experience does concern me, I will say that. But I mean, Kyle Shanahan is very good at constructing an offense. I mean, I think making Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard look good is an amazing accomplishment. And if Mac Jones is 50% better than those guys, I think they'll be in good shape.
Yeah, my thing with the 49ers is, with the quarterbacks too, whoever the 49ers are going to take, I think is going to be one of the best in this draft class, purely because we've seen over the years that when young quarterbacks go into good situations, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, even Kyler Murray, I'll say for this year, they have success, right? We've seen it. And the 49ers are, bearing injury, a fantastic franchise to go to right now.
I seriously believe that they would have been still a Super Bowl contender had they have not sustained so many injuries.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even with Jimmy Garoppolo, they were a good team. But you think the people who have won Super Bowls in the Shanahan offense have been Steve Young and someone else that I'm blanking on right now. But it has been the athletic quarterbacks that have actually won Super Bowls. That's why I'm a little confused why they're not going like more of a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance.
So Justin Fields, I completely agree, should be the second pick, first of all. But I think that Trey Lance is more of a development project than Zach Wilson is.
Yes.
And Trey Lance, as much as Zach Wilson is being labeled a boomer bust, I think Trey Lance is that, but double. And that's the thing. Trey Lance is such an intriguing prospect, and I think that it's going to take the right coach and the right environment for him to succeed. But I do think San Fran would be that environment, so I do agree, why aren't they doing that? But hey, you never know.
If the 49ers did end up taking Trey Lance, it wouldn't be a thing where he has to come in and start right away like he would if he went to another franchise. They would be fine with giving Garoppolo another year and letting Trey Lance learn that system, which I think is the perfect situation for Trey Lance.
The one problem with that, though, you're paying $25 million for a bridge quarterback. They might want to get that salary off the books. So that's why I think Mac Jones is the thing here, because I think plug and play is Mac Jones's destiny in the NFL.
He seems like a pro-ready guy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
From what you've heard about him.
He seems the most pro-ready and has, I think, the highest floor, but I think he has the lowest ceiling. And I think
that's the best way to describe him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's what we got for the 49ers. Moving on, the Atlanta Falcons. I don't like all the quarterback talk that's going around. I think it's all a smoke show. I don't think that the Falcons will go at quarterback. I think that they should at least go defense. I don't think they're going to do that, though. I doubt they're going to go defense. So I have them at number 4, taking Kyle Pitts, giving Matt Ryan another weapon in the offense. And we got to remember, with the 49ers, they didn't lose games last year because of Matt Ryan. Their defense was horrible. They were letting up big plays in the fourth quarter, and that led to a lot of, the chokes. Teams were able to come back on them in the fourth quarter because their defense wasn't as strong. I would love for the Falcons here to take Micah Parsons. To have a talent like that on defense would be great for the Falcons, I think. But I have him going Kyle Pitts because I think that, I like this pick too if they took it. He would be a great weapon for Matt Ryan, and that's what I think they're going to end up doing.
So, Will, we're 4 for 4 here. We have our first 4 picks. We have our first 4 picks agreeing on. See, I know that you would like them to take Micah Parsons, but he definitely has had some issues, like locker room issues that I think need to be addressed within a proper organization in the team. We'll get to that later, wink. And I think that they should take Patrick Surtain, the corner out of Alabama, because you just drafted A.J. Terrell last year. A.J. Terrell, Patrick Surtain, 2 first-round cornerbacks. I think that would be dynamic and a building block for your defense for at least the next 5 to 7 years. I don't like the whole, for the next decade, I don't like that whole thing. I just like the 5 to 7 years because you never know how players and contracts are going to end up going. I think they should take Patrick Surtain because, like you said, their biggest weakness is defense and it is not Matt Ryan. But at the same time, if you're sitting at the 4th pick, how do you pass on somebody like Kyle Pitts?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's a big-time talent.
That's what I'm saying. If Kyle Pitts, I think, first of all, he is the best player in this draft.
I agree. I'd say maybe behind Trevor Lawrence, but I think I have him as the number 2 guy, definitely.
And it's I think he is the most talented football player in this draft. I mean, if you do not take the most talented football, in my opinion, most talented football player in this draft, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Best player available at number 4. It doesn't matter if you have Hayden Hurst. I mean, no team is going to be like, Hayden Hurst, got a game plan for him. Nobody's really losing sleep over him. People are going to fear the trio of Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, and Julio Jones, even though Julio Jones is, I would say, declining slightly, but people will fear that trio if Kyle Pitts is everything they make him out to be.
Definitely. I totally agree. I mean, we want to see him go defense, but chances are they're probably going to get a nice shiny pick, put aside Matt Ryan, which I also don't have a problem with. They're just going to have to go defense later in the draft. Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals, I have them taking Penei Sewell, number 5 overall. They need to protect Joe Burrow. We can't see a talent like Joe Burrow, one of the most pro-ready quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. He stepped in and he did good in Cincinnati. He just did not have the protection that he needed. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they maybe went a Jamar Chase to put weapons around him and go offensive lineman later in the draft. But I think Penei Sewell is a true left tackle. He's going to change that offense if he goes there. He's a little bit of a raw prospect, but I think that he'll end up being a great offensive lineman. So I have them taking Penei Sewell, number 5.
Hey, Will.
We went 5 for 5, didn't
5
we?
for 5.
Wow.
We went 5 for 5, my friend. See, this is a very controversial take, okay? The most important position in football is the offensive line.
Yeah.
Any position on the offensive line. It's not the quarterback. What is an offensive lineman without a quarterback? He's still an elite offensive lineman. What is a quarterback without an offensive line?
I agree. They should definitely go O-line here. Yeah. I think this is pretty straight up. We all knew that the Bengals were going to have to take a lineman. Well, I could see Jamar Chase. I could see if Kyle Pitts falls, Kyle Pitts. But I think chances are we're going to see either Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell.
Well, here's where it gets intriguing because you have Jamar Chase sitting right there. You know what college that Jamar Chase went to, right?
LSU with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Him and Joe Burrow put up one of the most historically great offenses in college history, okay? If you're there and you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you're like, I have a chance to give Joe Burrow his best target. I mean, Justin Jefferson, phenomenal. But Jamar Chase, if he was in last year's draft, he would have been the first wide receiver taken.
100%.
In my personal opinion. So I think you're in a bit of a pickle there. But to me, it's a no-brainer. Because we go, do you make your guy happy by picking his buddy at receiver, or do you make him happy by protecting him? I think you protect him. When the offensive line does its job and does not get beat, the average quarterback rating is 75. That makes your quarterback Russell Wilson.
Yep.
When the offensive line does not do their job and does not protect, your average quarterback rating is 40. That makes your quarterback last year's Carson Wentz. Do I need to tell you how bad Carson Wentz was last year?
You definitely do not.
Yeah.
We saw the games.
Everybody here and everyone listening to this has a pair of eyes. No offense if you're blind. Okay? They saw how bad Carson Wentz was. So
atrocious. He was awful. Yeah, I think that's pretty straight up. I could see, I don't think the Bengals could mess this up. I can see them taking Jamar Chase, which would be a fantastic pick, but I think Penei Sewell has to be the pick here. We're going to move on to number 6, where I have the Miami Dolphins taking Jamar Chase. Tua needs weapons. I think it's pretty straightforward. Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the draft. Oh, excuse me. I think it's a pretty straight up pick. Jamar Chase, number 6. 6 for 6, huh?
No.
Really?
No.
Who do you have here?
I have them taking Devontae Smith.
Ooh.
I have them taking Devontae Smith out of Alabama. So you gotta bear with me here because I know that's a bit of a hot one.
Yeah.
So Devontae Smith, you know what college he went to. I'll use the same logic I used with the Bengals. You know what college Devontae Smith went to?
Alabama.
Yes. Do you know what college Tua went to?
Alabama.
Okay. So it seemed to me last season that there was a lot of discomfort. Brian Flores was kind of going flip-flop with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Tua. And I think that you need to commit to Tua and say, we drafted you number 3 overall last year for a reason. You are our guy. Injuries aside, it's done. 2 years, it's over in the books. You have Mike Gesicki. You have Devontae Parker. You can add Devontae Smith to that wide receiving core, and I think that would make it dynamic. Me personally, I think that he's better than Jalen Waddle. I know a lot of people go back and forth, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, and some people think Waddle is better. I personally think that Devontae Smith is a lot more explosive. I think that Jalen Waddle is a lot more elusive and quick. But I think in terms of pure explosiveness and being a wide receiver, the definition of a wide receiver, you can't go wrong with Devontae Smith. And you commit to your guy by giving him somebody who he had to throw to and one of his best partners in Devontae Smith. I think that makes Tua so much more comfortable in Miami.
See, I agree with you. I truly do like Devontae Smith. I think he's getting knocked a little more than he should for a Heisman Trophy winner, especially. But the thing is, I have Jamar Chase here because I feel like he'll fit the Miami system better, and I think Miami likes him more. I think he would be a great addition. Both these wide receivers are good, and I think whichever one Miami takes, they're going to be fantastic with. They just have to develop them.
Yeah, no, and definitely I think that Jamar Chase is the better receiver. So I'll agree with you, and I'll definitely give you that. My whole thing is, I just think with, like I said, the flip-flop between Fitzmagic and Tua, you need to make sure that Tua has no doubt in his mind that he is the guy, because that could be put into a question after what happened last year, okay? And I think if you do that and give him somebody that was from his college, somebody who he got along with and put up great numbers and had great success with, I think that tells Tua, hey, you are the guy. We are bringing in your guys to help you out. You have a good offensive line. You have a great defense. And you have a good coaching staff. Hey, it's all yours. We're handing you the keys.
I agree. I think the Dolphins will be a very good team this year. We both had them go wide receiver there. And I think that's got to be the move for them overall. So we'll move on to number 7 here. I have another wide receiver going. This is where I have Jalen Waddle going to the Detroit Lions. I'm seeing the nod from Gino.
QB alert.
Ooh, really?
Justin Fields.
No way.
Yep.
That's a big pick. I can actually see that, but I am going Jalen Waddle because obviously we just saw them trade for Jared Goff, which maybe was more trading away Matthew Stafford. But I think that they need to give, if they traded for Jared Goff, I think they need to give him weapons. I could see Jalen Waddle going here. A lot of people like him over Devontae Smith. I could see the Lions doing that just to get a weapon for Jared Goff. But yeah, I have them taking wide receiver here.
So I'm rocking with Justin Fields because, let me ask you a question, Will. Are you confident in Jared Goff when there are not adequate weapons around you?
No, definitely not.
Do you feel as though a wide receiver, Jalen Waddle, do you feel as though he will be the catalyst and turn around that offensive weapon system completely?
I think he would be a great addition. I don't think he's a game changer, but I think he would be he would be the Kenny Golladay replacement, in my opinion.
Okay, so if my opinion, if he is not a game changer, he's not going to help Jared Goff, and he's not going to make Jared Goff be the quarterback for the team that you're looking to be. Okay, I understand that Jared Goff is expensive, and I talked about you don't want an expensive bridge quarterback, but I think in this instance it's different because Jared Goff, I believe, is a good guy to blame everything on if your offense is going to shit, okay? Oh, Jared Goff, it's Jared Goff's fault. First-year coach, it's Jared Goff's fault. You know what I mean? I think he would be a good scapegoat, and I think that Justin Fields, the pick, is a new, exciting prospect, and you're basically telling the fans, wait for Jared Goff to go. It's deal with Jared Goff for 1 year, and then Justin Fields, he is the savior. He is coming. I personally think that Justin Fields should be the number 2 overall pick in this draft. And I think because of COVID, because of everybody looking at more film because of extra time off, I'm talking about the lockdowns and everything. I think that people, they think they're smarter than they really are. Looked at Zach Wilson and was like, oh, well, he did this and the QB and advanced analytics and second spectrum. No, don't give me that. Watch the games. Watch the games. Justin Fields is far and away clearly the second best quarterback in this draft. Zach Wilson had one of the best offensive lines in college and faced mediocre opposition. Okay? That is atrocious that he is going to be taken number 2. We already went over that, but you know what I'm trying to say here. Okay?
I completely agree with you. Justin Fields has been knocked unfairly way too much, in my opinion. You're talking about a kid who, at the end of last year, we were debating could Justin Fields be the number 1 overall quarterback, and then it was pretty cut clear. Okay, Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence. He's going first, but Justin Fields is second. He would be going first if it wasn't for Trevor Lawrence. And then it started to turn to, Zach Wilson, and he's doing all this. You're like, okay, Justin Fields 3, fine. Now people are starting to throw Trey Lance
and
out there and Mac Jones in front of Justin Fields. I think that's ridiculous. I think we both have different directions for the Lions going with these picks, but I think overall we have the same mindset that they need talent on that offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yep.
They definitely do.
So, and my thing is, like I said before, people with the COVID shortened season, they look at Zach Wilson's pro day and they'll look at like extra film and like be able to decipher and depict like these little things that Zach Wilson might have done better at one point in time. But dude, a pro day is a pro day. Okay, let's be real here. There aren't any big linemen coming for you. There aren't any big boys that you have to look over. There isn't a linebacker coming down the A gap trying to absolutely destroy you. Okay, there isn't a cornerback or a safety trying to pick off whatever you're throwing or chase down if you decide to tuck and run. There's none of that. You're throwing on air. You're throwing to a wide receiver on air. If you are going to be an elite NFL prospect, anybody should be able to throw on air and make it look impressive. Okay, to me, pro days and combines, unless you do something like that is off the charts, it means nothing to me. Watch the games. Okay, you're not gonna have 16 pro days
where you have linemen going at you.
It's gonna be 16 games. And last time I checked, Ohio State was in the national championship or competing for a national championship.
They were in the national championship versus Alabama.
Yes, they were
beating
in the
out Trevor Lawrence, mind you.
Yes, beating the number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
And I know it's defense, and Trevor Lawrence can't play defense, but you know what I'm trying to say. Work with me.
Yeah.
You know?
I totally agree. I think Justin Fields would be a great pick here. Overall, the Lions just need talent on that offensive side of the ball, right?
Yep.
They just need talent.
Lions, man. Yep. Bite their kneecaps.
We'll move on to number 8 here. We have the Carolina Panthers recently trading for Sam Darnold, which signals to me they're not going quarterback here. Many people had them taking Trey Lance with this pick. But I think now that you have your quarterback, you got to protect the young ones. I have them taking Rashawn Slater here with the number 8 pick. I think this would be a great pick. They already have a lot of offensive talent on the Carolina Panthers. So I think you need to maybe throw in a guy like Rashawn Slater he plays guard, I believe, on the right side of the ball. Tackle. He's a right tackle, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that's what they need. They just need a solid lineman. He'll fit right in there. I think Rashawn Slater would be a great pick here.
So I got Jamar Chase.
This is a Jamar Chase pick?
Yeah, so this is the Jamar Chase pick. So you traded for Sam Darnold, right? And I believe that Matt Rule and company, Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator as well, they have a very long history of being able to build programs, being motivators, and building programs from the bottom to the top. You know what I mean? Building a foundation and building a good culture that everybody wants to go to. Sam Darnold is going to be rebuilt. He's starting from square one, almost as if he's coming out of the draft this year, because everything that Adam Gase taught him needs to be bleached, eliminated from his mind immediately, okay? He has Robbie Anderson, and don't forget, Robbie Anderson was on the Jets. So that's like a security blanket and a level of comfort that he already has to go with a good coaching staff. If you give him Jamar Chase, who is, in my opinion, the best receiver in the draft, you give him a comfort level, and you also give him a generational prospect, I don't see how you can go wrong there. And offensive line, I believe, I forget his name, it's blanking on me, but they did re-sign a tackle who is very under the radar and is actually sneaky good. But I think you can afford to give up an offensive lineman pick here just to make Sam Darnold comfortable.
I would love to see Jamar Chase go here. That's what you picked, right, Jamar Chase?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
It's a long 15 picks, bro.
I would love to see a wide receiver go here. I think that would be great. I think that they already have a lot of talent at wide receiver. Personally, Devontae Smith, I think, would be a good pick here, too. I'm almost put him in here with my mock draft. But I think Rashawn Slater would be a great pick for them. You need offensive linemen to protect Sam Darnold. You know the meme with Sam Darnold, the I'm seeing ghosts.
Yep.
We don't need that in Carolina. I think that with Christian McCaffrey, too, I think this Carolina Panthers seems to be really good. I think this elevates them to the next level. So we'll move on to number 9 here. The Denver Broncos. I got another quarterback going. This is where I have Trey Lance. The reason I have Trey Lance going here is it is time to move on from Drew Lock. They had the lowest completion percentage last year.
I don't know why, just the way you said that. It is time to move on.
It is just time to move on from Drew Lock. I've seen about enough of him. He turns the ball over, and they tried to make him into a gunslinger last year. and I know this because I had Melvin Gordon in fantasy, and in the fourth quarter, they'd be throwing Hail Marys with Drew Lock instead of running it out with Melvin Gordon. And am I a little mad about that? Yeah, maybe. But overall, I do think that they do need a quarterback. They're ready to move on.
I think we can all agree, though, the champion of that fantasy league was a deserving, a noble champion, a man of honor.
Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. I wouldn't have won if it wasn't for him, you know.
A very good point.
So, we disagreed there for a little bit, but I'm taking Trey Lance as well. I actually think that Drew Lock has a chance to be a solid starting quarterback in the league. But I mean, look at what the Denver Broncos have done over the last couple of years. I think Courtland Sutton is a sneaky good number one wide receiver if he continues to develop. Jerry Jeudy, I believe, is going to be a superstar in the league.
Like Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, I love Jerry Jeudy, and a lot of people are overlooking the other pick they made. I forget if it was the second or third round last year. KJ Hamler, he is a good slot wide receiver. And you have Noah Fant to go with it. They have loaded up with young talent on offense. And if they continue to develop, they are going to be an elite offense within a couple of years. And guess what? Trey Lance, I believe, needs a couple of years. If he pans out to what they need him to be, Trey Lance, with those young weapons, because I think Noah Fant is excellent as well. I think Noah Fant is great. And they got that guy, Noah Eganabene, or whatever his name is, too. That's another low, like a high-round tight end. I mean, and they have a good defense as well. I think they can stock up on it later because guys are starting to get a bit older. But Bradley Chubb is a great defender. Von Miller, when he gets healthy, is still very elite as well. I mean, I don't see how you can go wrong with a project here.
Yeah, I think Trey Lance is a perfect fit in here because the Broncos are in no means in win-now mode. And I think a guy like Trey Lance would be great for this defense because the defense is the reason that they won pretty much any game last year. And all they really need is they need a game manager. They need a quarterback who can go back there. He can call the offense. He can take care of the ball, which is exactly what Trey Lance does. He had no interceptions, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look. I'll have to fact check that. But I
haven't seen it.
He had a very low, if none, interception rate. And I think that's what the Broncos need. You need to get rid of these turnovers. You need someone who can go in. He's a versatile guy. He'll be able to run the ball. I think Trey Lance elevates the offense to just a whole nother level here.
Hey, and something that's very underrated about this, if you draft Trey Lance, Drew Lock can be like, oh, man, I got a guy up my ass. I need to start performing.
Exactly.
And maybe you can get something out of Drew Lock as well.
Yeah. Well, it's good we're back on the same page here with the Trey Lance pick.
Well, we're not going to be in the next pick, I'll tell you that.
Oh, boy. I can't wait to hear this one. Number 10, we have the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys very, very, very talented offensively with Dak Prescott coming back too. He has that new shiny contract. We know who's the QB there now. Everything's all settled. Now they need to get defense. If I were the Dallas Cowboys, I would be taking defense all throughout the first two rounds here. That's what they need. So with the 10th pick, I have them taking someone who I think is going to be a star corner. I have Patrick Surtain, the second, going here, number 10 to the Dallas Cowboys.
You know, I completely agree with everything that you're saying. But Jerry Jones, I don't know if you've heard lately, they're reporting that Jerry Jones is infatuated with Kyle Pitts. Okay? And if they do not make a trade to get Kyle Pitts, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Jerry Jones wants more offense. And even though they traded, and they got, I don't think they traded, I'm sorry. But even though they drafted CeeDee Lamb last season, Jerry Jones is horny for offensive talent, okay? I think he knows he's 77, 78 years old. He wants to win through offense, and he wants to do it his way. I have them taking Jalen Waddle here out of Alabama, wide receiver. I mean, I personally do not think it's a good pick, but we have to look into the mind, and we have to put ourselves into Jerry Jones' shoes here. Like I said, if he wants Kyle Pitts that bad and he's not able to get him, you can bet your ass that he is trying to get another wide receiver or another weapon to give Dak Prescott anyways. I mean, I don't see how, if you're Jerry Jones, just looking at it from his perspective, I think you take Jalen Waddle.
I would really hate to see the Cowboys go offense here. Because I don't really think they need it. I think they have plenty of weapons on offense. But I could see them doing it. I just don't think it would be a good move. I
agree with you. And just for the record, I completely agree. I think it's a horrible, horrible move. Like, they have Leighton
You're just going for accuracy. That's what you think they're going to do.
Yeah. They have Leighton Vander Esch, who I believe is a very good linebacker. Jalen Smith is a very good linebacker. Sean Lee, he's not what he once was. He's injury prone, but he is still solid and a good role model and a leader. Trayvon Diggs, the second-round corner out of Alabama last year, he started to show flashes towards the end of the season, and I think that he can improve under Dan Quinn, who was the new defensive coordinator and was an excellent one for the Seahawks before he became the head coach of the Falcons. But, I just think looking at Jerry Jones, like I said, how clear he's made it that he wants an offensive piece, especially like Kyle Pitts. I don't see how he doesn't take Waddle if he doesn't trade up to get Pitts.
Cowboys are in complete disarray with what they're doing in the draft. We have no idea what it's going to be. Hopefully they go defense. I would love to see that team get stronger on defense. Just have the Cowboys be good again. Cowboys fans need it. We'll move on to number 11 here. We have the New York Giants went out and signed a bunch of offensive talent this offseason, trying to give Daniel Jones the pieces, and I like that, and I think they should keep the same energy of just improving talent on the team, and I have them going defense here, actually. This is where I have Micah Parsons going at number 12. I think Micah Parsons, obviously he has concerns. I think he's a fantastic talent, and I think he could really go into this locker room and help change this defense to be a complete team.
Oh, yeah, well, if you listen to the reports in the locker room, he'll definitely change that locker room, all right? I do think that Micah Parsons is a good pick. However, I have Rashawn Slater, the tackle from Northwestern, going here. Daniel Smith, what the hell? Daniel Jones. I have a coworker whose name is Daniel Smith, so bear with me here. But Daniel Jones, it's made it clear he's your franchise guy. He is the guy that you are going with moving forward. I do not think he is a game-changing quarterback by any means. I definitely think that he is somebody who you could move on from if you really wanted to, and your franchise, depending on how bad the guy you get, wouldn't be in that much of disarray. But, if you made a commitment to him, all right, more power to you. Take the tackle. Take Rashawn Slater. I like the Andrew Thomas pick that they made last year. I think he had a rough go, his first go-around, but I think he's going to improve. I think Nate Solder, is he even on the team anymore? Do you know?
I think so, yeah.
Well, regardless, I think he's terrible. He's absolutely garbage. You have Will Fernandez, who is a fantastic guard. He is a, punch-you-in-the-mouth type of guy and makes that run game going. I think that Rashawn Slater, you definitely would make it easier for Saquon Barkley coming off a catastrophic injury as well. Give him a guy to run behind. You have two pretty damn good tackles. I don't see how you can go wrong here. Protect your franchise and protect Saquon Barkley.
I actually really like that pick, and I think if I didn't have Rashawn Slater going at number 8, I think that'd be a great pick for the Giants to make. Protect your franchise guy. I think overall we have the same idea there. They need to keep talent coming in, protect the guys that they already have. I had maybe add in a little bit to defense. Overall, I think those were two pretty good picks there.
And as weird as it sounds, Joe Judge got a lot out of underperforming or I wouldn't say no name, but average guys last year.
Evan Ingram became a Pro Bowler.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Evan Ingram was a Pro Bowler. I think that Joe Judge, I'm talking on the defensive side though, I think that he is somebody who is able to, maybe like Bill Belichick, but not to that degree, obviously. Just similar in being able to take guys who you don't really know or guys that might have been a disappointment and get the most out of him. Look at James Bradbury. Where the hell did he come from? You know what I mean? And he was a Pro Bowler too, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, he was excellent. Logan Ryan was a free agent until July, and he played the best damn season of his career.
Yeah.
And he was drafted in 2013, 2014?
Something
for a vet to ball out like that as a late free agent signing, especially sprouting this much, that's huge. And I think you can afford to pass up on the defensive side of the ball here. Protect the guy who you are committed to.
The Giants going in a great direction, I must say. I really liked what they did this offseason. We're going to move on to number 12 here. The Eagles traded the number 6 pick to Miami to move back to 12. Miami moves up to 6, which to me kind of signals that they are going with Jalen Hurts. They're not going to take a quarterback. If they wanted to, they could have done that at 6. So at number 12 here, I have them taking Devontae Smith. This is where I have Devontae Smith. I think they need just a real wide receiver that can go out and make plays with Jalen Hurts, and that's where I think Devontae Smith comes in. I think he'll fit right into this offense, and Jalen Hurts will kind of have his guy, a number 1 target, and I think Devontae Smith can really change an offense, so I have him going here at number 12.
So that is a good pick. I do not see Devontae Smith falling, personally. I think that as the league is shifting more towards an offensive system.
I don't think he should fall. Personally, I think he will, though. People have a lot of questions about his size, so that's why I haven't fallen.
I think that he's good. I mean, I agree. Like, people have questions, people say this, but to me, that's just more of the scouts. Watch the games. You know what I mean? Don't watch the pro days. Don't look at the fundamentals. If the guy can play football, the guy can play football, Will. It's that simple. If you can play, you can play. If you can't, you can't. And Devontae Smith, by all measures, has been able to play football and has been able to do it under two very good quarterbacks, but two different quarterbacks, and two, like a lefty and a righty. Yep. He has been able to thrive. And that's an underrated aspect.
He's a baller.
That's a very underrated aspect. All that being said, I have them finally here. My personal position, my favorite position, I actually coach it. Weymouth High School JV. Go Cats. Patrick Surtain II. I think that I watched a little bit of Patrick Surtain's film. He is so smooth. He has just complete discipline, complete control, and complete command. He knows exactly where the hell he needs to be at all times. His technique is flawless, and I don't say that about a lot of guys. His technique is flawless. He is great. I mean, like I said, I'm a little bit biased. I can examine things a little bit different. I think Patrick Surtain is one of the most technically sound players in this draft, and he is a huge pickup because don't forget, I mean, Jalen Mills is not a world beater, but they did lose Jalen Mills, and he had that flexibility of being able to play corner and safety. So you lost a potential corner there in Jalen Mills. If you take Patrick Surtain, I think that you have a lockdown corner. I like him a lot, and I think it's a damn tragedy that the quarterback transition and the whole offense is taking over the league thing is bad, because he would be a top 5 pick in my opinion.
I really like Patrick Surtain too. I don't see him falling that far here, but I would love him in that defense. That would be a great fit. Eagles defense is always pretty good. So we'll move on to number 13. We have the LA Chargers. I would like for them to take an offensive lineman here, but the two really big guys are gone, and I think that they need improvement all over. I would like for them to protect Justin Herbert, but with this pick, I have them taking cornerback J.C. Horn. He's flown up the draft boards. Everyone really likes him. He seems like he could be a great number 1 corner. A lot of great corners in this draft, so I have J.C. Horn going here at number 13.
Hey, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
So, I got J.C. Horn going here. I mean, if you look at the secondary situation over in Los Angeles, I was about to say San Diego, it's still a habit. Derwin James, excellent safety. When the hell's he been healthy?
Not often.
Not often at all. Casey Hayward, he was like close to being Defensive Player of the Year a few years ago. He sucks now, but he got released, so whatever. He's gone. Chris Harris was a good number 1 cornerback for a while there, and I mean, he's kind of getting on the back 9, so I don't really like the defense and the secondary relying on him. I don't know if you watch a lot of J.C. Horn, but I did watch a little bit of his film too. This guy is as physical as it gets. South Carolina has a reputation of having a very big and very fast and aggressive defense that just gets you and punches you right in the mouth. Punches you right in the mouth. This is my first podcast. I'm sorry. But, they punch you right in the mouth. I mean, San Diego, they hire Brandon Staley, which is a defensive-minded coach. I mean, you saw how good the Rams were last year. You need to get a guy with attitude, and you need a guy who can represent that style of play from Brandon Staley perfectly, and I think J.C. Horn is a hell of a pick.
I really do like J.C. Horn going here. I think that would be a great addition to the defense. This pick, I will say, this is the hardest pick for me to make, believe it or not, at 14 with the Minnesota Vikings. At first, I had them going offensive lineman. I had them taking Christian Darsa. Him. I had them taking him. He seems like a great offensive lineman. People have already been pretty high on him. I'm going to switch it up last second here.
Jeez.
I'm going to switch up. I've been thinking about this. Is pick I've been back and forth. And at 14, I'm going to butcher this completely. The Notre Dame linebacker, Jeremiah Usa, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know who you're talking about. I don't know how the hell to pronounce it.
Carmelo, I'm sorry, I pronounced his name totally wrong.
Hey, if you ever turn out to be good and you somehow, some way listen to this, we're sorry.
Apologies. People have been really high on this kid, though. He seems like he would be a great fit. Minnesota could definitely use defense. I would love them taking defense right here. I could see maybe them going wide receiver or offensive lineman too. This is a tough pick because I don't really know what the Vikings are going to do in this draft. We haven't heard a lot from them. So that's my pick at 14.
Okay, so that's a good pick, but when I look at the Minnesota Vikings, on all three levels of defense, the three levels, the linemen, the linebackers, and then the secondary, I think that they have very damn good players on levels 2 and 3, linebackers and secondary. I think ever since they lost Linval Joseph, their big nose tackle who can stuff the run and was just a big presence overall and actually a very good locker room guy, I think they've been missing that oomph and that emphasis and haven't gotten a lot of knockback up front. They need to get Christian Barrymore out of Alabama. This man is a tank. He is a true professional. He knows what the hell he's doing. He is a true plug-and-play type of guy. And if you take Christian Barrymore out of Alabama, I just don't see where you can go wrong. You reestablish, in my opinion, the most important level of defense, which is the first one. I mean, if you reestablish that, because you have Anthony Barr, who's good, you have Eric Kendricks, the middle linebacker, who's good, and you just signed Patrick Peterson. He's on the back nine as well, but he can still give you some good playing time and some good minutes. It sounds like I'm like analyzing a basketball player, but Patrick Peterson is still good. And then you have Harrison Smith, who's one of the best safeties in the league. So you're all set with the linebackers and the corners and the secondary. Take Christian Barrymore, reestablish, get those big boys moving up front, and I think wreak havoc.
It's a pretty solid pick. I will say that pick is my worst pick by far. I haven't watched much Vikings football, and we haven't heard much from them in the draft. So that's a little bit of a confusing pick right here.
I'm a closet Vikings fan.
I will say this next pick, number 15, our New England Patriots. I have a little bit of a controversial pick going here too. If Justin Fields is gonna fall because of what they're saying about him, let him fall to New England. I have the New England Patriots taking Justin Fields at number 15. I really hope he falls this far. And it's looked like he's gonna fall in the draft from what we're hearing. I don't think he should, but I think it could happen. Justin Fields is a fantastic talent. Bill Belichick has said he really likes him, and I would love to see a new quarterback maybe sit behind Cam Newton for a little bit and then take over eventually.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So if you're Bill Belichick, you're sitting in the war room, and you have Justin Fields, and you have Micah Parsons both on the board. You know Bill Belichick pretty well, at least from a coaching perspective, right?
Yes.
Who's he gonna pick?
I think he would take Micah Parsons, but I have Micah Parsons going earlier.
Yeah, no. So I hear you there. You did have Micah Parsons going earlier, but if you have both of them available at the same time, you best believe Bill Belichick's taking Micah Parsons, and that's who I have him taking.
Here's my thing with that though. The Patriots have addressed a lot this offseason, right? Mm-hmm. They went out, they got Jonnu Smith, they got Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. They did a lot on the offensive side of the ball, and they got Jalen Mills and Matt Judon. That's who I was blanking on.
Judon's going to be excellent.
I like Judon. I think they've gotten pretty much every need that they had from last season. They needed a tight end. They needed someone to fill in the void that Gronk has left. The one thing that they have not done yet, which we all thought they were going to do, they haven't really addressed quarterback. Granted, they did sign Cam Newton, but it's an extremely team-friendly deal. It's, a 1 year?
It can be up to $7 million.
With a lot of incentives.
Yeah, so if he reaches all incentives, I believe it's $7 or $8 million.
To me, that's not committing to a quarterback at all. That is just getting a guy as a safety net. I really think that they're going to go quarterback in this draft because they've addressed everything else. I could see Micah Parsons. I would love Micah Parsons to come here too. But if Justin Fields does fall this far, I think that he would be a great pick for New England.
I hear you. And I definitely think that Justin Fields long-term would be the smarter pick. But, I mean, like I said, you gotta look here. This is Bill Belichick we're talking about.
That's a good point.
I mean,
we did say that about this offseason, though. The Patriots do never make big moves in offseason.
I'll give you that. Yep, I'll definitely give you that. 10,000%. I mean, when I saw that splash and all the signings we made, I was like, whoa, what is going on? But hey, I'm happy it happened. But I think Micah Parsons is, in my opinion, one of the top 2 best defensive players in this draft. And I think he's being mightily overlooked. And, I know I was giving him shit earlier because of, the locker room issues. But if he can clean that up, and in a locker room like New England, they will release you immediately. They do not care how good of a player you are or if you were a first-round pick and they already signed you to a contract. They don't care. If you don't behave, if you don't look the part, if you don't act the part at work, or if you create controversy, they will release you, okay? And I think that if you're able to hone a personality like that, and if you're able to say, hey, Micah, do what you do, but just don't cause issues, you get, like I said, either the first or second, debatably, like, best player in this draft. I'm sorry, best defensive player in this draft.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see personally how you can pass that up, but I mean, I don't know. It's very tough if Justin Fields is there, but looking through the lens of Bill Belichick, he's taking Parsons.
There is a saying with the Patriots, whatever you think the Patriots are going to do in free agency, they're going to do the opposite.
Yep.
We know how that works.
See, at this point, I don't even assume. All right, folks, well, that's going to wrap it up. If you want to tell us why we're wrong, feel free to in our comments on YouTube. This is going to be posted on YouTube as well, so yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Down below is going to be a link to our Instagram, and hopefully we're going to get this first episode up on Spotify. So if you see a Spotify link, it's going to be on Spotify. Make sure to follow us, comment, tell us why you think why we're wrong, really, because we love to debate. That's why we started the podcast.
But just remember, I'm always right.
Of course. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 1 of the podcast. More to come. Thank you and good night.
Peace out.